everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney 2, Ryunosuke's Resolve. This is VDiffuser in our last episode. We encountered Lord Strongheart, and we also encountered Herlock Sholmes, who, for some reason, is a redhead. And we got our next, he got his next case, who happened to be juror number 2 from our last case. What are the odds? And we have to go to the prison from the last case. Barclay Prison. Again. What are the odds? We have to go to the prison governor's office. I don't think this is going to go well. It's on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in a watchtower. He has a guillotine for a clock? Yeesh! You're a big one. This place is full of hardened criminals. I cannot remember the last time a civilian was down here. And you did not want to talk to an inmate, but to me? Hey, it's Mike Haggar. Do you ken who I am? I'm the governor, Barok Von Ziek. Oh yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. And an Easterner, I see. Does that mean? Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes. Well, there's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison next door, eh? Well, aren't you a nice guy? I didn't notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I did not like to be so direct, but... I've no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. Wow, Haggar. Your ancestors really, really mean. Now get out of my hair! So as soon as he finds out we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means... I think it's because of the professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Asogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? Your agency, part of the Professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just... Get going with you, or I punch your lights out. No double lariats for us. We're going. Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not getting anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Caden, what are you thinking, Miss Susato? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some ideas to help us. Alright, time to pay another visit to Strongheart. Or not. Oh right, it wasn't Strongheart who talked about him. It was... Hello there. That's Professor Mikotoba over there. Hello you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. But where's Judge Jigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself out to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today, goodness, he's full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before, about how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison? Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? So it is the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, he would be a very different story. Would you? It would be wonderful if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Reading the paper. Busy drinking coffee in a comfortable city. Now, I have a rather lot to prepare for tomorrow, as you know. Sorry, I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or could it be you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding them? Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Well, it's time for us to take a look. Good luck then. Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse, first class cabin, 001. Yokohama departure, 11th of September. 1st of November. That's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? I think it called at Dunkirk at the north coast before finally arriving in there. It's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. Seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? I have mine safely in my diary. I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo? Did I imagine it? Or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Alright. Let's see if Mr. Caden will speak with us now. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Caden. What's this then? You can't pull a wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Shut the hell up. Mikotoba? That young jock from the forensics laboratory. That Mikotoba? Yes, exactly. Him. Oh dear. Perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Yujin Mikotoba's daughter, Suzato. Jinx! You're the young man's daughter! And you did not think to mention that before. You kind of tossed us out before we could. I do apologize. I will. You best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And did I forget to try one of the wee handcuff biscuits? Okay, that's almost adorable. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So then, what can I do for you, Ian? Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing? That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor. I've never heard nothing of this sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. Oh? How can that be? It's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder. Vigil! That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only being missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir? Aye, of course. Well, that got something out of him. Warder Vigil. We understand Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Aye, he doesn't work here no more. He left the job. Oh my. When was this exactly? Ah, there's a question. When was it about? It cannot have been much less than 10 years ago now. Huh. 10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago? After the professor kicks. Aye, as I minded, you ken, I haven't heard the fella's name in all that time. That's a worry if he's gone missing though. But if Miss Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here. Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yeah, I believe it may be. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago, which was exactly when the professor was being held at the prison. So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of chief warder 10 years ago, you're telling us. What happened to make him leave the job? In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. You mean he was dismissed? It was after a particular walk. A walk? Aye, that's our word for it here. A walk to the gallows. An execution. It's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions you see. Only, Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning. What did he do? I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. Classified, eh? But I can tell you that it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. Why wouldn't Miss Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression her husband still works here. I wouldn't ken anything about that, I'm afraid. Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal? And what will that be, Hen? That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the professor's? My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm not at liberty to answer that. Figured as much. Alrighty. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted. The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research, do you ken? Yes, I can imagine. The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable. Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard. In the basement of St. Sinners. It's still in use today. St. Sinners. That's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there. Mikatoba and I have used to ride in a carriage together and negotiate turns. For more fresh material, I suppose. Aye. And we used to sit in here for hours and gab on about this section of all sorts. Ooh, it takes me back. Over a pot of tea and a plate of cough biscuits, of course.
How charming.
He was a good fella, your father. Reliable and dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese.
Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose.
Well, I cannot tell you anything else.
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, one moment before your way in. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
Last Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course.
Oh my, are you sure?
Aye, it's not trouble at all. It's not the original mind.
Okay. Thank you very much, Governor Caden.
Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed.
Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being.
I agree. We have to report back to Mr. Sholmes what we found out about Mr. Vigil.
What will he tell Miss Vigil, I wonder?
Alrighty.
That's not good.
We're back.
Hello, you two. I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all. So that's what the delicious smell is.
Greetings, my dear.
Are you feeling blue? Dabba-dee-dabba-die.
Oh, wow. You returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Hello, Mr. Sholmes?
Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Oh my!
Oh my!
Pray, tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you garnered some new information?
Yeah, about that. It's not a patch in your hair, to be honest.
Most certainly isn't, but still,
We discovered that Sholmes!
Uh-oh.
Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important.
Gina?
I cannot believe it.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
What's happened?
Clearly a very grave matter indeed. Though Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever. Yeah, you're feeling... What's the use of feeling blue about your hair when we have something bigger to talk about?
It's the boss.
What do you mean? Inspector Gregson?
The boss is... He's dead.
Wow. Tobias Gregson's dead.
What? They just found his body. Shot with a pistol. What? But... Inspector Gregson.
He was murdered?
No. Not Gregsy.
Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... He was really shot. I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene. Where did this take place? At a rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town. Nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then. The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. How strange. The boss was... He was so good to me. I know I ain't done much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I was gonna show him I'd become a proper detective. You still can. It's just gonna take a bit longer. Oh, Ginny. So, who done it? You have any idea who the culprit is? They got him already. Already? Wow, that was quick. A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Who? What awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper. Wait a minute. You don't mean they arrested Lord Von Ziek for it? That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss. No. He wouldn't do that. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Barok Von Ziek the police have arrested. I saw him with my own eyes, in the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses, and they were all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They heard the gunshot, apparently. And when a lot got to the scene, there was only the boss, and that Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Von Ziek would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. He's cold and stiff, but he wouldn't kill someone. Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry. What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come and all. As soon as you can, you gotta help. It's a detective's lot to appear whenever some sinister plot is unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes, these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson! Mr. Naruto, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Blue hair and all. We will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later then. Inspector Gregson dead, and Lord Von Ziek arrested. Runo, Susie! I've called your hansom. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Miss Susato? Yes. Alrighty. What do we got on the blackboard now? Nothing. Von Ziek's behind bars. So it's true, he really was arrested. He's sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Von Ziek's. Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be, but the last person on Earth I'd like to see. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened. That Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. But... Forgive me, Lord Von Ziek, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigation, please. There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This. The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share case details with the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance. Oh, who might that be? Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Hairbrain. Well, of course. I keep forgetting they went to the same university. And I would like to read my correspondence in peace, so let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know? Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Von Ziek never minces his words. But they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. Alrighty. Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Von Ziek? What happened? How much do you already know? We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street, and that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested. We were told there was nobody else in the room, and some witnesses heard the gunshot. Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself. But the gunshot, obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you? I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise, however. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving of officers. So he doesn't actually know what happened. If I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with? I don't need to answer that. Oh. After all, you're not representing me. He's gonna need a lawyer, though. Who's going to be representing you in court, Lord Von Ziek? Anyone other than you, I should imagine. Heh. Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet? Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, I'm sure you know. But this is different. In my career, all of the defendants I prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now. Surely not. I assure you no defense lawyer will want to touch me at the end of the barge ploy. A barge ploy. Ploil? Really? But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that. What does he mean by that? Professor Hairbrain's letter. After the trial, Professor Hairbrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper. Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad. I mean... Yes, so it seems. Your stooped little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo. Professor Hairbrain is back in Germany now. He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. There was a 2-second silence, that's all. Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. I was wondering, Lord Von Ziek, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. You trust me, do you? Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. It's a very gracious offer, however. I trust no one. What? Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you Nipponese. But please, I've no intention of engaging your services. Oh, he's gonna go Miles Edgeworth on us, just like the 5th case of the first game. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. Alrighty. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper. And we'll do that next episode.
Have no doubt, I'm in control. You may think chasing ghosts is